Alright, let's cut the chase. This topic that I'm gonna talk about is really nothing to smile about because you may be watching this video and going through the exact thing that I am going to talk about. If you want to know what I'm going to talk about, just press a little pause on this video, press that subscribe button, and also the notification button that when I post new videos, you will be notified. Also, you gotta share it and like it, and I would love to hear your comments. We are going to talk about relationship, and the aspect of the relationship that we're going to talk about is when the relationship is over. Yeah, this is not an easy topic to deal with because it comes with a lot of emotions, and many persons just wanna pass this stage. But it is important that you examine where you are at. If it is that you are going through a breakup, it's important for you to examine where you're at so you'll be able to move on. What I'm gonna talk about is not a one cap fit all situation. Many of us, as girls, as ladies, we grew up in an environment where we played with dolls. You know, we have the minority who would be out with the boys and climbing trees and playing with trucks and doing their marbles and stuff like that. And I'm talking about pretty much the Jamaican context. So growing up watching Hollywood, watching our parents, and reading these fantasy books and storybooks about a happily ever after, we grow up seeing our parents having this harmonious relationship. Yes, have little disagreements here and there, but they manage to stick together. Some of us had parents who never had that type of cohesive relationship, and it ended up in divorce or separation, or even never ended up getting married. And you said to yourself that what you see your parents had, you want something different or even better. Some of us grew up with this notion that we will find that person or that person will find us, sweep us off our feet, and we will be married and live happily ever after. Only to realize that the first person you fell in love with, it didn't work out as planned. And what you ended up with, either an empty bank account, heartbreak, embarrassment, imprisonment, lawsuit, children, and some persons are left empty after a broken relationship. Some of this may apply to you, as I said, and some may not. What do you do when you have invested so much into a relationship and you have been trying all you can to save the relationship, but your efforts are futile? What do you do when the person tells you, hey, I can't do this anymore, after investing your time, your money, your space? What do you do? Many of you are found in situations where the relationship is over, but for the sake of the children or the child, and for the sake of dependency, because you are depending on the individual to take care of you, for the sake of the situation. So the new term nowadays is persons are in a situationship. You know, so it's not a dedicated relationship, but it's a situation. And some persons will, like even Facebook will say, complicated relationship, right? So a lot of persons find themselves in a situationship where you are just there and you are just going with the flow. But really, do you want this going with the flow? Many persons also find themselves in the situationship or in the relationship where they want to get out, and the willpower and that strength is just not there. It is a challenge to really talk on a topic like this because every relationship have their dynamics. You know what you put into it and you know what you are getting out of it. And you have to be the one to evaluate whether this relationship is worth fighting for. But one thing I do know, that if you are not being satisfied, if you and the person are unhappy, if you are not benefiting from the relationship any at all, if the relationship is an abusive one, I think there is no need to evaluate. It's just really time to go, pack up and go. It is not easy, especially when you have invested in it. It's never easy to walk away from someone you love. It hurts. First, see if you can get some form of support, especially if you have been depending on this man. The church is there. The community is there where you can go to the parish council, so you can get in touch with the, oh God, I can't, it's not the MP, with the counselor, with the council of the community. I know they tend to have a lot on their hands, but then there are a lot of programs, especially for young people, who have dropped out of high school or need to develop skills or further their education. A lot of programs are there in place. If you have family members who are there, see if you can get support from them, because the transitioning phase, it's not an easy phase. But you can't sit in an abusive relationship or sit in a relationship where you are not benefiting from and continue to think about the good old days. If you continue to think about the good old days, you will never leave, and you will be there and you will be stuck there for years. So, leave the guy, leave this female, especially if she's toxic, especially if she's not doing good to you but doing more harm. Leave the relationship. You have to think about you. If it is somebody that you know is depending on you so much in the relationship and needs your help, and it is draining you, you can pull apart, where you can strengthen yourself and let the person seek help for themselves as well. So the first thing, have a conversation about the relationship. Talk to the person. I don't think this is working out. If you have a child, for the individual, you set your boundaries. Don't let the person come to your house. You don't go to their house. You meet in a public place. Continue to allow that person to be a part of your child's life or your children's life. So you meet at a public place. Have some form of agreement to say, this is it, the child can visit you at such and such time, or you can come here, visit the child. And then if the person comes in your home, you know that on that particular day when the individual is coming, you have somewhere else to go, so you are not in that space. And even if you want to have like a family time, depending on the age of the child, and the child don't understand what's happening, I may not understand why mommy and daddy, not playing or not happy anymore because they're sensitive. You can have a together family time, but again in a public place, because this is a person that you love. So if it is that you are in a private place, what will happen? What do you think will happen? Yeah, you're gonna fall right back, and the cycle continues. And the more you try to leave, it's like the more you get in reattached, and then you sever the ties. It's gonna take some time, but by you sticking to it, it will work. One of the things that I always say to people is, whenever it is that you feel you want this individual, is really when you don't want this individual. So now it is a time where you have to take for yourself to unlearn certain things, especially depending on this person to do everything for you, if they were actually doing that. So this is a time where you pull away, but you can take your time to do it. Talking about it helps as well. Find someone you can talk to. When you take up the phone to call, you feel like rekindling the fire. Remember why you left the relationship in the first place. You left because he was abusing you or she was abusing you. You left because you were not being fulfilled. And you left because you know that you deserve better than what you are getting. You left because you would have tried so many times and still there are no changes. It's not an easy 1, 2, 3. There are gonna be days where you are gonna feel down. You are gonna reminisce on the good times. There are gonna be days when you just wanna see if you can work this thing through. There are gonna be days when you're gonna cry and you're gonna feel so sad. But you have to think about you. And if there's a child in the midst, you have to think about that child and think that you deserve better and that God has better out there for you. If it is that you need to talk, send me an email, denishajarrett42@gmail.com. If it is that you are at your point of giving up and you can't just stop going back, seek a counselor and seek someone who you can talk to. Thanks again for joining me on Let's Chat with Denisha. It was a pleasure talking to you about relationship. Sometimes it doesn't happen the way we planned it, but when it is broken, let us pick up the pieces and move on. Love is out there and love is awaiting. Have a good one.